Hey, Morgan, Wyatt. Hey, it's Lucy. This is Pops here. Hang on a minute, I'll show you. See, it's me. So anyway, I found this book. Somebody was throwing this book away at work, and I saw the author's name, Tomie dePaola, and that's somebody I used to read this guy's books to your dad when he was little. I don't know if he remembers it or not, but I remembered the name, and so I'm going to read you the story called Tony's Bread. So let's take a look. Here we go. And there you go. There's a picture, and it says, once, a long time ago, in a small village outside the grand city of Milano, there lived a baker named Antonio. But everyone called him Tony. Hey, there's Tony. Tony made bread, and only bread, in his bakery. It was good and simple, and the villagers loved it. But Tony had a dream. One day, he would have a bakery of his own in Milano and become the most famous baker in all of northern Italy. Here's another picture. The little ladies, what are they doing? It says, now, Tony lived with his only daughter, Serafina. He was a widower, and he had raised Serafina from the time she was una piccola bambina, a little girl, and how he had spoiled her. Antonio treats Serafina like una principessa, a princess, said Zia Clotilda. The finest clothes, the finest jewelry, anything her heart desires, said Zia Caterina. She never has to lift a finger. All she does is sit, looking out the window and eating dolci, sweets, said Zia Clorinda. Now that she's old enough to marry, Tony thinks that no man is good enough for his Serafina, the three sisters whispered to each other. Whoa, who's that? There's a cat on the roof. And that was true. Tony did think that no man was worthy of his darling daughter. He would not even talk to the young men in the village who wanted to court Serafina. So poor Serafina would sit at the window behind the curtains, eating her dolci and crying. Oh, look, there she is, eating sweets and crying because her father won't let the young men come and talk to her. Well, one day, Angelo, a wealthy nobleman from Milano, was passing through the village. And as he went by Tony's house, the wind blew the curtains away from the window, and there sat Serafina. Angelo and Serafina looked into each other's eyes, and it was love at first sight for both of them. And there's Angelo, and there's Serafina, and there's some little boy with some bread, and these two are in love. And the three sisters were standing nearby. Dear ladies, Angelo asked them, who is that lovely creature sitting in the window? Che bella donna. What a beautiful woman. Is she married or spoken for? Ah, young signore, said Zia Clotilda. That is Serafina, the daughter of Tony the baker. No, she is not married, and not likely to be for a long time, said Zia Caterina. No one is good enough for Tony's little Serafina, Zia Clorinda explained. Well, we'll see about that, said Angelo. Now, aunties, tell me all you can about her. And the young nobleman and the three sisters sat and talked and talked and talked. And before long, Angelo knew all about Serafina and Tony the baker. He knew all about Tony's dream of becoming the most famous baker in northern Italy. Grazie, aunties. Thank you, said Angelo. I think we have a plan that will give Tony his dream and give me the wife of my dreams. But I will need your help. This is what I want you to do. And the next day, a letter arrived at the bakery for Tony. Dear Signora Baker, I am Angelo, a nobleman from Milano. I was passing through your village and was lucky enough to taste your fine bread. Would you be so kind as to meet me in front of the church after Mass on Sunday so we may talk? I have a proposal to make to you. Angelo di Milano. And a secret letter arrived at Tony's house, and this secret letter was for Serafina. Dear Bella Serafina, heart, 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 I saw you at your window and I love you. Here's a ring to keep as a symbol of my adoration. It will not be long before we are husband and wife. Angelo, your true love. And Zia Clotilda, Zia Caterina, and Zia Clorinda did their part. Oh, Tony, did you see that rich young man from Milano? Zia Clotilda asked. He wanted to know all about you. It seems he just loved your bread, said Zia Caterina. Nothing like it in all Milano, he said. Zia Clorinda told Tony. Why, I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to meet you, the way he went on. Well, dear ladies, funny you should say that, because he does want to meet me. After church on Sunday, said Tony. His name is Angelo di Milano. Imagine that. Che bella fortuna. What good luck for you. And for Serafina, they whispered to each other. And so, Signor Antonio, I would be most pleased if you and your lovely daughter would come to Milano and be my guest. I wanted to make sure I had not skipped a page. This is what Angelo said to Antonio. And if you like our city, I would be proud to set you up in a fine bakery of your own near the Piazza del Duomo, the Cathedral Square, and your fame would be assured, Signor Antonio. I will see to that. Tony couldn't believe his ears. His dream was about to come true. Why, thank you, Signor Angelo, but please call me Tony. All my friends do. Also, Signor Tony, Angelo continued, the advantages for your beautiful daughter would be great. I admit I would not be able to find it unpleasant for Serafina to sit beside me at my great table as my wife, the daughter of Tony, the most famous baker of Milano. That did it. Tony agreed, and off he and Serafina went with Angelo. Together they walked all the small streets around the Cathedral Square and visited all the bakeries and pastry shops. Here you see, there's the little shops, Motta. And there's a shop, and here's another shop. Oh, that's Serafina. And that's Tony. Yes. And that must be Angelo. There. And they tasted torta, cake, and biscotti, cookies, and pane, bread. And Tony was depressed. The bread alone was like nothing Tony had ever tasted. Bread made out of the finest, whitest flour, bread shaped like pinwheels, bread with seeds of all sorts scattered on top. It's no use, Signor Angelo, said a very sad Tony. I can never compete with all these fine bakeries and pastry shops. All I can make is bread, and very simple bread at that. I would be a laughingstock of Milano. It's better if Serafina and I just go home. Oh, never, Angelo shouted. Oh, Papa, no, Serafina cried. Not only was she in love with Angelo, but she was looking forward to living in that grand house with all those good things to eat. If only you could make bread that tasted as good and sweet as this candied fruit and these raisins, Serafina said, or Angelo said, getting another idea, as rich and sweet as this cup of punch made from milk and eggs and honey. Milk, Eggs. Honey, Tony said, thinking out loud. Candied fruit, Serafina said. Raisins. Angelo chimed in. That's it, all three shouted. I'll make the richest, lightest, most wonderful bread anyone has ever tasted out of the whitest flour, the biggest eggs, the creamiest milk, the sweetest candied fruit, and the plumpest raisins, Tony shouted. Oh, Papa, Serafina cried, kissing her father. Servants, Angelo called, and he sent them off to buy all the fine ingredients Tony would need. And so there's Angelo, and there's his servants who are going to go buy the stuff, and there's Tony, and there's the happy, happy Serafina going to give her Papa a kiss. So, what happens next? Let's see. The next morning, Tony, Serafina, and all the supplies headed back to the little village, and Tony, oh, there he is, he began to work. Day after day, he experimented until he had mixed the lightest, richest dough with as many raisins and as much candied fruit as he could possibly put in, and now he was ready to bake. He sent word to Angelo and Milano that he should come to the bakery the next afternoon. Then he sent out the dough in large bowls and went to bed. As Tony slept, the dough began to rise and rise and rise. The next morning he filled every pan in his shop. One piece of dough was left over, so he threw it in a flower pot and baked it too. When Angelo arrived, the bread was just coming out of the oven. Everyone held his breath and waited while Tony cut a slice of his new bread. Angelo tasted it. Serafina tasted it. There's Angelo and Serafina. Tony tasted it. There's Tony. And Zia Clotilde, Zia Caterina, and Zia Clorinda all tasted it. That's it, they shouted. I'll take these loaves back to Milano and see what my friends say, Angelo said, and off he went. In just a few days, another letter. This letter arrived, and a large cart filled with ingredients arrived in the village. Dear Tony, here are more supplies. Make as much bread as you can and send it to me. Then, when I send for you, I promise you will enter Milano with flags flying, and Serafina will be mine, your future son-in-law, Angelo. P.S. Please bake all the loaves in flower pots. My friends like the shape of that loaf the best. Well, isn't that funny? They like the one baked in the flower pot. And so just before Christmas, Angelo sent for Tony and Serafina. Sure enough, when their coach entered Milano, crowds were cheering and flags were flying. Benvenuto, Tonio! Welcome, Tony! The crowds cheered. Benvenuto! And the bishop and the mayor were there to greet Tony. And there's the bishop, and there's the mayor, and there's Tony. And the mayor said, Milano is so happy to have you here, so we may always have enough of your wonderful bread. The next day when the bakery, oh, look at the sisters, they're all dressed up now. The next day when the bakery door was opened, the bishop's guards were called to keep order. All of Milano was there except for Serafina and Angelo, who were being married quietly in a chapel in the cathedral. Oh, look, there they are. They're getting married, and there's all the people going to get the bread. All during the wedding, they could hear the crowds cheering, calling for pan de Tonio, Tony's bread. And to this day, panettone of Milano is eaten and enjoyed, especially at Christmas. Brava, Serafina. Bravo, Angelo. Bravo, Tony. Tony, Serafina, Angelo. Bravo. The end. Thank you.